Hello, this is a video tutorial for the sopranos and altos on Vaughan Williams' A Song of Thanksgiving. I know that most of the sopranos, if not all, have my marked score, but I want to clarify. Anyway, the soprano solo, we're going to have those auditions on the 13th and the 20th. And just for the soprano soloists among you, a breath here and no breath here. We're in measure 9, no breath, or breath, and then no breath from 10 to 11. Good idea for you to go through your score and number all the measures like I have. All right. Now, I want to clarify this rebarring here. And by the way, this is soprano and alto on the top two lines. And Vaughan Williams, or the editor, has already bracketed that for us here. So you should think of this as a 4-beat bar, and then a 3-beat bar here, and a 2-beat bar here. Flip the R in glorious. And a glottal stop in front of is. This little apostrophe means we're going to cram the D of and over next to bless and put a little neutral syllable in between, and bless rather than and bless, and bless. Going down to the bottom, let's get rid of the dot here and put a quarter rest for the breath. At the tempo we're going to go, that will feel real good. We're going to rebar down here in bar. This is the bottom system. Starting in the third bar, we're going to rebar 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, and then in 3 again. I just put a little, there should be no breath here, and I put a little notation that altos and sopranos, your second syllable of glorified, and you should flip that D, goes on the 16th note, whereas for the second sopranos, it's on the 8th note. I'm sure you figured that out. We're going on over to page 6. It's the solo here at the top. I would take a breath there. And chorus comes in down at the bottom at 3. And the sopranos and altos are together on this top stave. We're going to rebar here. I would put a little crescendo here in the second measure of 3. That's measure 51. So we're going to rebar this to a 2-beat bar, a 4-beat bar, and back to 3 beats. At the top of page 7, now the sopranos and altos are split staves. You'll need to go through and mark that clearly. We're again going to drop the dot here, so it's just a half note, and then take a breath on beat 3. Second sopranos, you should go down to alto here in measure 55. The D, of course, and 2, and 2. That a little Robert Shaw trick there. And second sopranos go home right there. We'll have no breath going down to the second system. Eliminate all final R's. And let's take our breath right on the downbeat here. So this will be ever off, take a breath. Mark your decrescendo, and let's shorten that half note to dotted quarter eighth so we can take a breath. I'm skipping over to the top of page 8 now. Mark your decrescendo. Sopranos and altos are on the top 2 line. This is accompaniment, and breathe with the punctuation. And I wrote, the chorus is a hushed, whispered prayer. Circle your pianissimo dynamic. Get rid of your final R's. Altos, let's take a breath here in the second measure, or at the first measure after 4. That's measure 63. You should be numbering. In measure 64, sopranos and altos, take a breath here again before the last beat. Mark your crescendo. We're going to the bottom of page 8. Mark your decrescendo. Circle your pianissimo. We're going to get rid of our R's. Here's our breath before beat 3. I'm going to have the second never mind. I'm having some tenors go up here to the alto line. Just touch that. Get rid of your R's. Take your breath on the punctuation. Tenors are going to go home. Top of page 9. Mark your crescendo. Get rid of your R's. No breath here in the second bar. And just touch that alto. Not sure why it's different here. That's strange. You know what? I think you can just sing a quarter note like the sopranos do. I have no idea why that's like that. I'm going to change that. I'm going to fold down that page and fix that. So instead of what's marked, just sing here a full quarter. Altos. Just sing a full quarter note along as the sopranos do. Makes more sense. We're going down to the bottom of page 9, and the sopranos and altos are together here. Circle your dynamic. Keep it moving. Underline greatness. Let's shorten this quarter note here in measure 79 to 8th note, 8th rest. Put your S right on beat 1. Greatness and the. Underline power. Let's make power a one-syllable word. And because this R precedes another vowel, we're going to say power and. So it's a small flipped D. Make sense? We're going to the top of page 10. Flip the R in glory, underline the first syllable. Sopranos and altos, you're on the top line here. Take a breath there. Let's underline victory. Crescendo, mark your crescendo here. Let's crescendo clear up to forte. And then a bit of a decrescendo because we've got to get clear back down to piano. Let's make this note here. This is the second bar of 5. That's originally a whole note, a half note. Let's make it quarter note, quarter rest so we have time for a breath. Down to the middle of page 10. Nothing really spectacular here. Mark your crescendo. Let's shorten this dotted half to half note, quarter rest, so we've got time for a breath. The E is missing there. I noticed in my score. I don't know about your. And it's the, not the, because the next word is a consonant. Let's breathe after kingdom. Actually, let's make that an 8th note eighth rest to give us time to breathe. Big crescendo up to double forte here. Let's put our, oh, and we should also get rid of the R in Lord. Interesting what I find as I'm going through this. Sopranos and altos, by the way, I should have told you you're on 2 staves now. So crescendo up to double forte. We're at double forte here. Circle that. Get rid of your R. We're at the top of page 11. Let's put our D there, right on beat 1 of 101. You're in the top 2 staves. Get rid of your R in ought. Let's take a breath here at the end of the line. Sopranos and altos, we're now in the second system. You're on the top 2 staves. Get rid of your R in art. No breath here from 108 to 109 and 109 to 110. And let's put L, all at the beginning of 112. And then we're down in the bottom system for the soprano solo. And I don't have any special notes for that person. I'm skipping the soprano at the top. Nothing special there. And actually I'm skipping clear over to page 13, the second system down. This is a semichorus, and let's have just soprano ones here. Mark your crescendo decrescendo. I haven't. I get rid of the R in comfort and mourn, and it's piano to start and pianissimo to end. Still soprano 1 only. Get rid of the R in 4. Well, it's actually, because it's between 2 vowels, it's a small flip to D. 4 ashes. We're at page 14. Soprano 2 take over because it's a slightly lower tessitura. Give the first sopranos a break. Get rid of your R in morning and garment. Second system of 14. The R in spirit is between 2 vowels, so it's flipped. I should mark my crescendo and my decrescendo fermata there. Then we have, you might want to mark in these brackets, okay? Although really what you should do is just mark yourself a note to go over here to the middle score of 15. Where we're going to have, or actually to the, no, you should go to the top of 15. So sopranos and altos come back in. Let's, this is a dotted quarter eighth. Let's get rid of the dot, put in an eighth rest, and put the P there. And take a quick breath. Cast up, cast up. Take a breath. Get rid of the R, and let's put the NZ right there on the downbeat. And sopranos and altos, you're on the top stave. This is the bottom system. Right in a little crescendo here. We start forte. Get rid of your R in standard. This is soprano, soprano, alto divisi. And make sure you hold that out full value and put the L of people on the downbeat of 170. Page 16. Crescendo here. Soprano, soprano, alto. Get rid of the R in standard and 4. Let's give this full value and cut off on beat 2. Middle of the page, sopranos and altos, you're on the top staff. Still SSA divisi. Nothing in particular to notice except world. Get rid of the R, and let's put the D right before the downbeat where we take a breath. Bottom system of 16. The rhythm will be tricky here. We're in unison here, so this is sopranos and altos going to the top of 17. Rhythm is key here. Get rid of the R in before him. And now we're going to the middle of 17. Sopranos and altos are together. Let's take a breath in bar 186, people. And at the bottom of the page, take another breath after people. And let's accent the redeemed. As we cross over to the top of 18, we will put the D of Lord. This is not well marked, is it? We'll put the D of Lord right there. And sopranos and altos, you're on the top staff. Let's change this half note. This is the top of 18, first system, last measure. Let's change that half note to a quarter note, quarter rest. Middle score, we're going to do the same thing here. Out, half note is now quarter note, quarter rest for a breath. And let's get rid of the R in forsaken. And we're down at the bottom of 18. Sopranos and altos are now on two separate staves. I've marked this pianissimo accompaniment, meaning you're an accompaniment to the men. Get rid of the R and forsaken. And at the top of 19, let's put our N together on beat 3. You continue as an accompaniment. And we're down at the bottom of page 19. Let's take a breath at the end of bar 217, which is the first measure at the bottom of 19. Stagger your breathing. No breath here. Mark your crescendo. We're at the top of 20. Sopranos and altos are on separate staves. Let's again put the N on together on beat 2. I think this should be, this says poco forte dolce. Let's call it mezzo forte minus. And I wrote in grittier and different than before. Let's not breathe here. And no breath here. Decrescendo down to piano. And largamente, so it's slowly. Well, wait a minute. I wrote in largely, broadly, but no tempo change. Interesting, vigorous and sustained. Well, it might slow down a little bit. We'll see. Then it's speaker, speaker, speaker. We're at the top of 21. Circle your piano. Let's put the Z of walls right on that first eighth note. And in the next bar, the N with a little schwa after it, salvation. Let's put the N right on. We're going to close to the N here, Sean, and then take your breath on the eighth note. So we're going to shorten this quarter note to eighth note, eighth rest, and use your breath there. Let's accent and thy gates, and notice the little schwa. I wrote in erupt, because we've got a big crescendo and a breath. Gates. Down at the bottom, praise is double forte. Let's put the Z on the downbeat. Next, and here, this is beat 1, 2, 3. Put the Z on beat 3. And the same here in the last bar of 21. The children come next, so we can skip over to page 23. I'm at the bottom of 23, and we have a semichorus. Only the second sopranos begin here. And then in bar 277, let's take a breath as though you were going to continue on, but we're flipping over to the second sopranos. Altos, you join us here. And everybody at the bottom of page 24, let's have no breath in the 5/4 measure. and the soprano ones come back in to join us. We're at the top of 25. Altos, would you put your S on beat 3? Circle your piano at the top of 25. At the bottom of 25 in the 5/4 measure, let's change that half note to a dotted 1/4 for a breath. And everybody else is going to go 1/8 quarter, and their second quarter will be 1/8 note, 1/8 rest, so you have a breath. So we want to breathe after things before the mirth. We're on 26. Let's again shorten this half note to dotted 1/4. Your quarter note will be an 1/8 note, 1/8 rest for a breath. We'll do that again in the next 5/4 bar. So that's 290, or the third bar at the top of 26. And we have an incorrect word here. This should be all, well, it's archaic text, so we're going to change it to all beneath. Rather than all men neath, we're going to say all beneath the sun. Okay, so change that. Cross out men, change it to be, of beneath. And sun gets the full 4 beats and cut off on beat 1 of the next bar. We're going to the bottom of the page. Mark your scores carefully. The children have the top line and sopranos and altos together on the second. Double forte. Let's do awa. Awa as 2/16 notes. And let's shorten birth to, that's the wrong IPA syllable. It's supposed to be that A. It should have a bracket around it. Let's shorten that quarter note to 1/8 note, 1/8 rest for a breath. Same thing here, awa. This should, as 2 1/8 notes. And let's shorten faith and awa as 2 1/8 notes. Awa. Top of 27. Let's put the D right on the downbeat and shorten it. So we have a breath. Again, awa. I don't know why I'm writing the wrong IPA syllable. Sopranos and altos, remind yourself you're on the second staff down. And again, we're going to shorten this downbeat so we can die and have time for breath. Sopranos and altos, now you're on 2 staves. Mark it, no breath here. Let's all take a breath after the second bar. Head, let's shorten the half note to quarter note, dotted 1/4 for a breath. Head, heart, and you don't need a breath there, but I want it for rhetorical emphasis. And we're finally to the last page, and you are on the second and third staves, and we'll just touch beat 1. B, we just touch it. And that's all there is to it. Soprano, I have no special notes for you here at the end. Thank you.